Welcome to Community Conversations. I'm Fremont Unified School District Superintendent Jim Morris, and I'm your host. Protecting our environment will be a challenge that will face students for the next several decades and probably throughout their lifetime. Fortunately for them, and for us for that matter, many schools in our district already have programs in place to teach students about the importance of caring for the environment and being good environmental stewards. Taking care of the world that they live in is important to our schools, and Millard Elementary has been a champion and a great example of what students can do. Students and the staff at Millard have worked tirelessly to raise awareness about threats to the environment and talk about some of the things that they've done to really make a difference. And so today we have Millard's science teacher and a group of students. I'm going to have them introduce themselves and tell which grade they're in at Millard. But first we'll begin.
Hi, my name is Alaka Devi. I teach grade 1 through 6th grade students, and I'm a science specialist. I see all the students once a week, and but all this recycling program started in my classroom by getting a grant from Livermore, and then my main focus was to promote reducing waste and promoting by doing recycling, composting, and TerraCycling. So in my lesson plans, I included those stuff to teach my student how to compost, how to recycle, and how to TerraCycle stuff. So in that way, we are reducing the waste.
Oh, that's awesome. And our students with us today are?
Hi, my name is Kiana, and I'm in grade 5 in Millard.
Kiana.
Hi, I'm Samara, and I'm in grade 5 in Millard.
My name is Ansh Karbanda, and I'm a scholar in grade 5.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, can you just tell us a little bit about what are the efforts and what are you doing as students to be involved in really taking care of our environment and learning about it?
Well, firstly, at the cafeteria, everybody follows the 5-step process to recycle their stuff, and every Thursday the students have an annual weekly pickup at recess to clean our environment at school.
And as a teacher, that must be so rewarding.
Yes, so we form like a green team, and within the team we have like 25 students. But we started this program 3 years back, and at that time we had like 8 or 10 students. So gradually it is increasing, and they are more interested in recycling, composting, and all those stuff. So right now, currently we have like 25 students, and they are working towards it. Yes, and we are following the 5-step disposal process.
Yeah.
And Kiana, can you talk about the recycling process that we are doing during the lunchtime?
Okay, so once we're done eating our lunch, first, if we have any trash to disposal, like plastics that cannot be recycled, we throw it in the trash. Then we do the recyclables, like juice pouches and tinfoil from a granola bar.
Uh-huh.
And then after that, if we have any extra liquid, we dump it into this liquid bucket. And then once we're done with that, we dispose all of our compost in the compost bin. Then finally, we stack our trays up together.
That was 5 steps. I was counting because I was curious when you talked about the 5-step process. And man, you knew all 5 steps. Are there things that you've done as a school to try to reduce the amount that goes into the trash? Has anybody have any ideas about how you helped to reduce trash, what goes into the trash?
Well, we have, at lunchtime, we have some volunteers who guide the kids to put the trash in the right spot. So the stuff that goes in the landfill, which could be composted, and ends up being composted, which is actually very good for us.
And so who are the ones who help guide the students? Is that this group of
There's
25 leaders?
Yes, we started with those like volunteers, but right now I am trying to include all the school students and staff within that program. So what I do at the beginning of school year, I make a schedule of it. Like this class, students are going this month, or the next group of students are going the next month, and so on. So I pass those schedule to all the teacher also. So in that way they know, okay, that is their class turn. So they send student and they volunteer over there, and we teach them like which bin should be getting what materials. So they are clear on that at the beginning. And then when students are walking by, they are putting the right stuff to the right bin. And if somebody is confused, then the volunteers are helping them out.
Now you're in the 5th grade. I imagine you're really proficient at doing this. What do you do when the 1st graders come along? How do the 1st graders get it right?
Well, since we're not really here during the first graders go, there's like some people who volunteer to like tell them which bin goes in what food or what things go in which bin during the
I will add one thing to that. As a science teacher, I help them during the class time. So like do some activities that is helping them to recognize, okay, this item should be going in the trash, this item should be going in the recycle. And we do activities and we repeat those information inside the classroom. We play like a game kind of stuff. So that helps. And beside that, Ms. Robertson also helps us during the assembly. She talks about that, so that is a continuous reminder for them. So in that way it is helping students.
So now you've learned to do this at school, and you have this great recycling program that you're doing at school. Does that happen at home too? What do you do at home? How have you taken what you learned at school and applied it to your home life?
So what we try to do at home is we try to recycle as much stuff as we can, and if one of us throws the wrong thing in the bin, we actually help each other out to make sure each of the trash goes into the right bin.
And maybe sometimes, like I haven't planned it totally yet, but I plan like in my community, I think I'm just going to like, start our own team, have our own team, and then decide like every maybe Saturday or Sunday we might go around the community and pick up some trash like others have left behind.
Oh, that's an awesome idea. That's a powerful idea. As students, what would you say if you were trying to teach another student about why we need to take care of the environment? What would be the most important thing you would want every student in our district to know about why this is so important?
So what's really important about this is that we could keep our air fresh, and we can make sure that the plants and animals are fine, because if without them, the environment won't be the same.
And plus, with the population increasing, our ozone is getting less in the ozone layer. So with more pollution and more people, we have to really spread awareness about it so that the amount of oxygen does not die out in our atmosphere.
Tell me a little bit about, this is what you do at lunchtime, right? You talk about that really, really clear 5-step process, what everybody does at lunchtime. What's happening in your classroom? Are there things that you're doing inside your classrooms throughout the school to help protect our environment?
Well, like every single classroom has a trash can, and some teachers and students, they bring in things that will be good for like TerraCycling. And so like examples of TerraCycling products would be like chip bags or soda cans and things like that. So every single person, and like almost like every week, one person comes in and takes all the TerraCycling things, and then they donate it to a place where it takes in TerraCycles, and they use that stuff to recycle and try to create new things.
So that's a pretty big word. Define it for me. TerraCycling. That's a pretty sophisticated word. What does it mean?
TerraCycling means like most stuff like isn't really recyclable. So we're trying to find other things like soda cans and things like that, and we're using those to kind of make, take and recycle things. So.
And also, what we do with TerraCycling is technically we're just recycling products, and we try to check if the product is recyclable, and if not, we just throw it in the trash can and try to use it for something else.
Now, as a student, how does it feel to know your school's gotten so much recognition for being such an environmentally responsible school, and you're making such a big difference? Can you tell me a little bit about how that feels to know you may be in the fifth grade, but you're really changing the world?
I feel happy and proud of myself. I do.
And as fifth graders, setting that example for the younger students is probably a critically important thing, right? Because the younger students always look up to you and what you're doing, and they see you being environmentally responsible. It just encourages them. What was as a teacher, what was the impetus? That first grant you wrote, what motivated you to say, we can change the world and start here at Millard Elementary?
Yeah, I always look for new ideas, how I can bring new ideas to my students, how I can teach them about the nature, the environment, and how we can help the environment. So that is my main goal behind it. So when I saw this grant, then I wrote the proposal to recycle stuff. And beside that, I thought like how I can do this with younger kids, like starting from first grade through sixth grade. This is a life skill, so they should be learning about recycling. They should be learning about composting and TerraCycling. These are helping the environment, and we are reducing the carbon dioxide that is going to the nature, to the environment, to the atmosphere, and we are reusing those stuff. By doing the composting, we are just leftover. We are not throwing everything to the trash can, but the leftover food item that we are throwing in the trash can should be going in the compost. So we can use that in our gardens, school garden. So recently also we started with a garden project and a compost bin also. So we'll see how students are working on that, and they are taking temperature, putting stuff inside. So that is also helping them. Okay, we left our food in the compost bin, then we are composting those items, and how we can use that in our garden area, so they can see the relationship between the compost stuff, the gardening stuff, and how they will be helping the environment.
So you're actually doing the composting at the school.
Yes.
You're not sending it off somewhere.
We were doing that last year, but this year I started another grant. I got a grant from Fremont School District. That was the innovative grant.
Fremont Education Foundation.
Yes, and I got that one, so I'm right now working on a garden project. So students are working on that. And I'm taking like few students at a time, working with them and giving that the information, how it is like getting recycled throughout, and how it is helping our environment.
Oh, that's awesome. So you're looking forward to that garden at your school, huh? Are you involved in that composting project? Any of you involved in?
Yes, actually, what we did last year, and what we did is we collected the compost, and every day, with help from the custodian, we checked the levels of compost, which really helped us see how much our school is improving over the time we started this 5-step disposal process.
And what kind of improvement? Can you talk about that? How you've seen the improvement? What does it look like?
Well, Miss Devi made a graph of how it happened. Like every day we measured the levels. There were 2 really big bins, and slowly it started increasing, which was very good, because all the stuff that went and ended up into the landfill, half of that stuff could be composted or recycled. So it's a very good feeling when that happens.
And then it will benefit Millard when the compost is used in that garden, and it just keeps going and going. Now, you're in the 5th grade, you'll be going on to 6th grade and going off to Walters Junior High School in the very near future. How do you think what you've learned through this program at Millard will change your thinking and behavior when you go on to junior high school and then high school and then as adults, college students and adults? How do you think this knowledge will stay with you?
I think that the knowledge will actually stay with me by actually telling probably my friends, probably in the future, about how to save the wildlife and how to recycle, compost, and possibly they could spread the word out too.
Oh, that's awesome. Have any of you have a career goal in mind, something that you want to do in the future? Has anybody thought about that yet?
Yeah.
No.
What's your career goal?
I was actually, my goal is actually to get a science degree and start being a scientist.
So in the area of science, anybody else have something they've thought of?
If I'm gonna like kind of work with the environment and everything, I'd go with environmental engineering, because it's where it doesn't just like depend on your environment. You can like work with water and to help conserve water and help animals and other things like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
And even if I don't get a career in science or in helping the environment, we will probably all still make sure that in our own house, in our own communities, we are making sure that the excess trash does not end up in the landfill and is actually taken to other places such as the compost or the TerraCycle to be used in better ways.
And so in the future, it's kind of like I can be just like you. I'm a school superintendent and an environmental activist. And you have a teacher who's a science teacher and an environmental activist, right? So no matter what profession you go into, you carry that knowledge with you for life and really become someone who is a good steward, cares a lot about the environment. Do you think the learning that you've done has changed what you've done in your household? At home, do you get after mom and dad about, oh, no, don't put that in the trash, mom and dad, or your brothers or sisters? Have you seen that become real behavior you use everywhere in life?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. What my mom and my dad and my brothers do, we actually buy these compostable bags, and whenever we're like cooking or having any vegetables or extra fruit shreds, we have like this small bin and we throw it in there. Once it's getting full, we each take turns taking it out to the compost bin.
Wow, you must be the most proud teacher in the world to hear them talking that way.
Yes.
What's the next step for Millard? What happens next? You've had this incredible progress that you've made. What's your next dream for the school?
So, I'm still working on that. That is how to conserve energy and as well as how to conserve water. So I'm looking for ideas that I can include in my lessons, and I can teach that in near future. So, and I have to write some grants also for that. Yeah. So that is 2 more stuff that I'm thinking of. And currently I'm working with a big organization, and that organization is giving like kits like solar panel and all those stuff. So I'm teaching that to my 4th grade students currently, to teach like how the renewable resources are there, and how we should be using renewable energy resources, not the non-renewable energy resources. So they are sorting those out, what is renewable, what is non-renewable. And from there, they are working with the solar panel, the small one, the kit one, and this organization is providing those kits for me, so I can include those information to my students.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we can go forward with that progress. Yes.
Now, if you were giving advice to a student, because Millard is really the shining example in our school district of a school that's just done an amazing job. If you were talking to a student from another school that wasn't doing this kind of recycling program, what advice would you give them about how to get it started and how to make it happen and how to keep a strong program like you have at your school?
I'd say to kind of like start your own team, like who want to like help around the school, and you know, and they like enjoy, you know, helping around our environment and wants to keep our earth clean. So they should start their own, you know, team, and then by then it'll be growing and growing and growing.
Any other suggestions for them? So number one bit of advice, don't try to do it all yourself. Have a team, right? Have a team. Anything else you'd offer to that school just starting up?
Well, firstly, I'd add that be sure to be very strong with the composting because that compost will actually build up our plants of tomorrow, which will help us get more oxygen and us live better. So I strongly urge that they start composting using the 5-step disposal process at lunchtime and in their house and community too.
Wow, that's awesome. Were you going to add something?
Yeah. So if you were like planning to do this, you should actually spread the word on it and just think about your community and how it'll become a better place.
Look out, Walters Junior High School, because here they come, the environmental activists of Millard. Very, very proud of you. It's a pleasure to have had you on Community Conversations. From all of us at Community Conversations, thank you for watching the super team from Millard Elementary.